Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dream Plan Do podcast, where we not only dive into real estate, we actually dive into flipping people.
Ooh.
And today, I am so excited to introduce our guest, my friend. This gentleman not only has a heart for real estate, he has a heart for his family. I don't want to tell you what he does, I want to tell you who he is. Trevor Ahing, if you do not know his name, if you don't know who Invest with Trev is, you are missing out on a beautiful person who not only is a loving husband, he is a loving father to two beautiful children who I happen to know. And he has a passion for his family and for his business. And I cannot wait today to share who he is as a person, as a businessman, and as my friend.
My goodness.
So he is a 8-year Marine vet.
You got that.
Can I say hoorah?
You say oorah.
Hoorah.
Oorah.
And I want to welcome you to the second episode of the Dream Plan Do
Thank
podcast.
you. Thank you. Let's do it again, but more nice stuff. Okay, no, I really appreciate it, Christina. Thank you so much. It's an honor. You call me any day of the week. I will fly down here and I'll make sure I show up for you because you are literally amazing. You, Ricardo, the whole team. I love it.
Well, thank you. You know, I was thinking of all of the conversations that I wanted to start with. I'm like, should we start with the parkour story?
Ooh.
Should we start with the wholesale story? Should we talk about how you are a full-time dad and just juggling all of these wonderful things? I mean, who are you?
There's a lot of balls in that basket, huh? I say start with parkour if we're gonna go chronological. You know what I mean?
Why not?
Start with that bad boy.
I mean, why not? I could tell everybody like how I met you, but I want to start with how you became you, and then we talk about how I met you.
Oh man, it was a science experiment gone wrong. How I became me. Well, the parkour story is funny because now that's just like a party trick, right? Doing flips, it used to be everything for me. But when I was in high school, before I joined the Marine Corps, right? I'm the definition of a mama's boy, right? I love my mom.
Never would have guessed.
Right. And so I did parkour professionally. So I ended up watching James Bond's, Casino Royale. Shout out to that movie. Sebastian Foucan is a French free runner. Long story short, YouTubed it, saw a bunch of links. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And I moved my dresser outside with my mattress and I started just trying to backflip. I ended up breaking my ankle.
We are not responsible for any children out there that tried to do this.
Yes, please. Go to your local gym because now it's fat. Everybody does parkour now. It's so cool. And did that. I got very good at it. Did it with my best friends. That was actually our first business. We opened up the Haven. It's the way PK's parkour gym, and started doing that, which sounds super cool, but it's like skateboarding, right?
Yeah.
So you're sponsored. You get all the free clothes, and you do a bunch of music videos and stuff. But when you're not touring, you're just staying at home with your mom and resting up.
Drinking all of that.
We did. It was the World Freerunning Parkour Federation. It was pretty cool. And then I was at a jam, which is a parkour word, and I was in my sweats at Subway, and I love Subway. Love it. And a recruiter came up to me for the military, and he says, "Hey, I'll buy your tuna sandwich if you talk to me for 5 minutes." And I go, "Free Subway? This guy can't rope me in." A couple months later, I was in Marine Corps boot camp. So he got me good, and I loved every bit of it. I was from very codependent to very independent, and it made me a man, and it kind of gave me it kind of set the foundation of who I want to be, and I pride a lot of that to the military.
I love watching you with your family. I love watching you with your friends. You know, I feel kind of privileged because I've been able to kind of see you in different settings, from speaking on a stage with tons of people watching you to behind the mic whenever you're talking to the people that were trying to learn about Novation, and then just being dad, just being full-time dad, and sitting there with Kat and yes, honey, yes, honey.
Yeah. Yeah, she is the boss. She is the absolute boss. No, it's funny you said that because Rob said something great to me the other day, and you get burnt out in this industry sometimes, especially in the limelight or as an influencer. And when I got into Novations, which I'm sure we'll get into, I got thrusted into something really before I was ready, but I yearned for it. I loved it. I wanted to be the guy. But it's funny because he goes, "How many people do you think know you?" And I'm thinking back, I go, "Man, a lot of people know me." Right? He goes, "No, they know Invest with Trev.
Yeah.
They don't know Trevor." And that was like a big moment because you're always on, And so And a portion of this is, I mean, we're really gonna peel back the onion, but I mean, a portion of it still, you gotta show up and be the guy, but, it is true, and you've seen me in every facet of my life, in every phase. My wife loves you, my children love you, and you guys have been just an amazing family, and to be able to be a part of what you've grown as a small, stepping stone in it, I'm like, "Dude, I'd love to continue to carve everything in real estate with you guys." So,
Oh, well, I mean, I can't wait to dive into the real estate.
mm,
But
mm,
I think about when I first met you, you're right. Like you were this influencer. Ricardo found you online.
mm.
He's like, "Hey, I joined this mentorship. I just paid like $5,000. Can you jump on this Zoom call on Thursday?" And I'm like, "Okay, what does
Nice.
this guy do? Creative financing. Just jump on."
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I jumped on. I had my notepad and I'm ready to go. And it was a very different Trev that I
Mhm.
know now. And I mean, I don't know if I like one more than the other, but I see you're so much more comfortable in your skin these days. Can I say that?
Yeah, yeah, I appreciate that. I think, at that time, well, first off, I think kids change me a lot. I've been married young, and I've been able to grow with my best friend. My wife has seen every chapter of our life way different, but my kids, when you first met me, my Wednesday Zooms, we'd have a bunch of people coming on, our private classes, speaking, traveling, all the fun stuff. But being able to reclaim my time when you pop out a couple kids and you realize that, that there's more than life than work, I have shifted and I'm a lot more comfortable on my skin to be able to say no to things. And that was something I never did for years. And so I definitely got burnt out in a good way though, and you feel guilty saying that. But I felt like I was renting myself out to people who didn't care. You guys are unicorn, but there were a lot of other people that came into the program where it'd be a Tuesday, that's the only time they're available after work, but they wouldn't have a camera, they're in the car arguing with their girlfriend, but they paid for my time,
Mhm.
but it's not being reciprocated, and I'm at the office, and I'm like my wife's with the newborn at home, and I'm like, "What am I doing?" And I started to resent it.
Yeah.
And you've created a great culture, though, with the community that you've done, and I think I set the expectations incorrectly initially because I grew so quickly, so I didn't know what to do and how to do it, and I just kinda built my parachute on the way down, and you guys were honestly some of the best things that kept me going in the community a little bit.
We would not have this community, honestly. I look at the sticker there and I remember when we were thinking of the logo.
Mm.
We would not have this community if it wasn't for you.
That's so cool.
Ricardo and I, we just wanted to have a networking event and we just wanted to share with what he was doing and maybe get some deals out of it, meet people and, I mean no stranger and never had no inclination that we're gonna be sitting here in a podcast
Look
room.
at you now. How crazy is that? How crazy is that?
Look at
Look at us.
look at us.
Look at us, guys.
This is
Look at
what do you
us.
say? Your net,
Yeah,
your
yeah,
network.
yes.
This is my friend. This big
Yep,
guys.
this is my friend. Multiple deals. I mean, gosh, how many community members you guys at now?
So we're at 75 community members. We're 9 states now, so that's crazy. Why? What? Okay, so you were in the Marines,
Mhm.
and then why real estate? Like, what was it that? What was it that? Why did you decide to jump into real estate? Of all the things you could have done.
That's one of my favorite stories. So my wife always says her failure is my biggest success because when I was in the service, I'll tell you right now, I had an illustrious career, multiple meritorious promotions. I drank that Kool-Aid hard, and I still love the Marine Corps to this day. I mean, I absolutely love it. I wish I didn't have to get out. But after, about 5 years, we got stationed in San Diego. My wife was bored at home, and I was full on going to be a sergeant major, 30 years in the gun club. I loved it. And she was like, I want to get into real estate, right? She saw a couple videos, and I'm like, you're a smoking little Filipino girl. Like, go do it. Go sell houses to all my friends. You know what I mean? And I'm like, first off, I thought buying a house was a scam. I lived in apartments my whole life.
Yeah.
My mom's retirement plan is me. You know what I mean? So like, financial literacy is like not taught amongst us, especially in the service. And I paid for it. I went to Bigger Pockets. I looked up real estate events, and I wanted her to kind of meet people. Found Bigger Pockets, of course. Shout out Brandon Turner, all of them, and I paid for a workshop for like $60 for her to go. Long story short, she chickened out that day, and I'm
Oh
like,
God.
and I was frugal, so I was like, I'm not wasting those 60 damn dollars. So
Yeah.
I went,
Mhm.
and I thought real estate was so suit and tie because you think about it, briefcases and agents and ties and yada yada. I went there, I met so many people that were just in board shorts and flip-flops, drinking beers, talking about their portfolio, and I'm like, are you guys millionaires?" They're like, "Multi." I'm like, "What do you do?" They're like, "Whatever we want." They started talking about creative real estate investing. Some of them are agents, and I was so fascinated. There was a service member there, and he was an officer. I told him I wanted to get involved. How do I start? And he said, to house hack with the VA loan. So if anyone's watching this as a veteran or active duty, if you are not buying your property with 0% down, no mortgage insurance, and renting out the rooms to your boys, you don't understand the kind of world and momentum you can create while being able to still do your 9 to 5 in uniform and create financial freedom. You totally can. Bought my first property, cat cleaned up after. I mean, I turned like a couple homes like trap homes, Christina. Like I was like renting out the rooms. I had bunk beds in the living room, and we were cash flowing like crazy, thinking we were rich. Then you realize that it's a stepping stone into understanding what you're doing, the development of financial literacy and everything. And I thought I could do both. Long story short, right before my last deployment to the Middle East, my father-in-law, Phil, he came down at one of our properties, and I was like, "Look, how cool is this?" Right? And he was like, "Wow, so cool." And then he goes, "Yeah, but this is really cool in your 20s." He was like, "But my daughter deserves
Oh, yeah.
so much more. She's not going to be cleaning up after you and all your boys. I don't care what money brings in. You're going to build a base for your family. Take this and move it to where you can do this in a way where you can, have a home for my daughter." It slapped me in the face, and so I vowed to look at doing something different. Right before my deployment, he died of an aneurysm. He, randomly passed, and it was so hard on us as a father figure for me and for Kat. She's never dealt with a death, like even dogs, like great grandparents, like they stay strong. Her genes are great, and and I asked to stay back from deployment because my wife was in shambles. And the Marine Corps, which I totally get, it's like a revolving door, could be thankless sometimes, and it just said no. And I said, wow, like the one time I really need to provide for my family. I've done so much in the service, so many countries. I couldn't. And so I vowed to get into real estate to take over and be able to reclaim my time and say yes to things that I need to do for my family. And then I was able to have a great command where after deployment, I was able to get out and transition to this full time. And I've just been sprinting ever since, I guess.
Seasons. I mean, that's kinda what I see. There's been so many different seasons.
Oh, yeah.
You seem to be parkouring through life. And, I mean, you're literally flipping, right?
That's a badass analogy. You're literally flipping.
I mean,
What am I doing? Yeah, that's awesome. I love that.
I mean, you are, and but it's you're going to new levels. I wanna touch back on something you said about financial literacy
Mhm.
because, I just had this conversation with, someone, that wants me to speak at their event.
Okay.
And we were talking about the education program and how there is such a lack of education on financial literacy, on investing, and not just real estate, but since that's kind of our niche, our
Mhm.
circle. Tell me a little bit more about your experience with financial literacy. About you said there was not very much, and how do you see that different now?
It's a great question. Like every American, right? Especially in the service, you're overworked, you're underpaid, you're traveling a bunch, you're racking up credit card debt, and you live for the weekends. Friday, Saturday, Sunday with the fam bam. We were over at the bars, and I would say to an extent, lifestyle has a lot to do with it. How you're raised has a lot to do with it. And, I'm not here to badmouth my mother whatsoever, but I mean, my mom works hard to play harder, and I love that mantra, but it doesn't set you up sometimes correctly. And I do think the culture of who you hang around with is huge. Because the moment I started shifting into putting myself in a position to be a student and learn from people like you, like really learn from influence where people I wanna be like, you you're a chameleon, like, you start gravitating into that. And so, once I got my first house, which is not hard, I'm not saying it's a cakewalk, but imperfect action is better than perfect non-action.
I love
So
to say that.
I looked at it and said, "What do you need?" And you'd be transparent. I talked to a mortgage lender, and he goes, "Well, get rid of your credit card debt. You know what I mean? Fix your credit score, and we'll talk." And I just started slowly doing that over like 6 months and got into a position to get it. But once you get one, it's a snowball turned into an avalanche. And so I started going to meetups and networking events and just coming with my hand up and not my hand out. And people were, as it always is, so graciously able to share everything. And I started realizing that, yeah, I mean, this is just not taught, especially in the service. In the service, people are pulling out loans for like 5K necklaces, you know what I mean? Or spending 3,000 at the strip club. I mean, money you don't have. And it's a culture thing. I truly do think that is. So as I was able to take a step back, I did something that I think everybody should do. And I fired myself right away. And I got a partner, right? And I looked at it from their lens of saying, what am I good at? What am I not good at? And they always looked at the strengths of the financial aspect. And I looked at the strengths of being more of the visionary and balanced that out. And it worked with Rob. And then from there, Rob tells me, yeah, I mean, that's the guy. If I got to swipe the card, Rob would be like, nope, yep. And I'm like, okay, he's just the dude. So, I mean, that's a long-winded answer of thinking. I think you just need to shift your culture and be around people that you want to be like.
Yeah, I mean, I remember whenever, when we did the first Zoom, Ricardo said, "Yeah, I think you met your match, like, his energy is like you." And I said, "No, I wanna be like him."
No.
Seriously, I mean, because you were educating people, you had so much information, and I could feel, like, the passion in it, like, you
Yeah.
just wanted people to get it. "How many phone calls did you do today?" I'm like, "I did 27. I can do more tomorrow. How many do you need?"
It's true. It's true. You got to bring that though. If you want it,
Yeah.
you got to bring it. In order to be part of the 1%, you got to do what 99% won't do, right? And that's show up every damn day. And that's tough. And that's another thing on the burned out piece cuz not everybody's like you guys, right? And that's the other side of the coin. It's so funny when people pay you, they're like, "All right, now make me rich."
I wanna talk about
Okay.
that.
Okay.
I wanna talk about that 'cause I was so I did kinda Trevor stock a little bit, I went through some of your YouTube, I went through some of your shorts.
Oh man.
And, you said in one of the you talked about, like, all the different mentorships and all the money that you paid to join
Oh
different
yeah.
type of, mentorship programs, right?
Yeah.
And then you open one, and then you start one. And so now these people are throwing money at you, and that's a responsibility.
Huge.
But not only the money part, the people part.
The value, yeah,
It
absolutely.
weighs on you, right?
Mhm.
I mean,
Oh my god,
I
yeah.
paid you $5,000, Trevor. You should be at my beck and call. I'm gonna call you at 7 o'clock, eight
Of
o'clock.
course.
So, what are some of the experiences? What happened? Why did you do that? I mean, I want to know why did you parkour into buyer beater?
Boom, I love the analogy. See, I think with that, that's a really good perspective because as I'm not shy to put money. First off, I'm never afraid to put money in my friends' pockets, and I'm also never afraid to learn. And so everything comes at a price. I'm not afraid of paywalls, especially in front of the right people. We pay to play, right? So first mentorship was $5,000, Garrett Long, and I used my wife's credit card without telling her, which is wild now, but it was some of the best money I've ever spent. But here's the thing, I won't talk bad about anybody on the mentorship piece, but it's so regimented and you feel like a number sometimes, right? You go from there, and then Josh and Tiffany High's results driven was amazing, but there's always another thing that you gotta do, and I'm like, "Why don't we just end up creating something where it's more personable and we can create more of a family unit and allow these questions to be more of a stage where I can just shout the answer to everybody," you know? And I see why now, because, reclaiming your time or being able to position yourself with an educational platform and a service, you have when you're up there on the stage, you still have 100 audience members who are saying, "I wanna feel special," right? So, that has been tough because and you set the wrong expectations. I think it's all about you guys have set great expectations. When I first started, it blew up, and I was giving my time when it was advantageous to them, and I'm not saying that was wrong, but when you have hundreds of community members now, you're working 28 hours out of the day to fit everybody's narrative while still trying to stay on as Invest with Trev and give them what they want instead of setting the foundation correctly initially and saying from this time to this time, this is what you get. And that ended up being a very slippery slope. But I wanted to do it because I mean, when you hear me talk about it, I am so passionate. Like, I truly love what I do. I love working with people. I love helping people out, and the success stories are amazing, but I take the failure to heart a lot, and I'm a big fan of extreme ownership, and I do think the organizational piece of why you can create longevity in the space is because you build a good base, you set regimented times, and you allow them to fit that narrative. That way you can continue to grow yourself. Because I stopped everything I was doing to be an educator, but I'm educating on things I stopped doing now so I can have a better platform, so to speak, and fit everybody's narrative. And then all of a sudden you realize that your pipeline starts drying up, you're not getting the right kind of deals, the turnover's insane, and all of that became massive issues because that's what I ended up putting all my eggs into that basket for. And it was just crazy. It was tough.
And you still went home, and then you had to take care of your family and, be sure hubby duties. And then, I think, Kaya was, she was, she was
She was
almost a
like
year old.
6 months to like 8 months when this started. And
Right.
my wife saw the growth, and she was never one to ever stop me. She was so supportive, but you're totally correct. You come off a couple hour Zoom all the time, and you come back in, and you hang up the investor cape, put on the dad cape, and then the newborn cape and the husband cape, and you're at 100% all the time.
Yeah.
And it's a blessing. But there's also some hardships that's so funny when people watch or they listen, like, yeah, but you asked for it. I totally did, right? But anxiety is real. You totally do ask for it, guys. And then all of a sudden, your Instagram, when you're like, I have no DMs, I can't wait till I'm flooded.
Yeah.
And now social media is an absolute nightmare sometimes. I don't want to open my DMs because when you start, you can't stop.
They see your lights on.
They see your lights on, then they want to respond to you. And it's such first world problems. But the dynamic of that, it's tough. Getting real.
I agree. No, that's what we're here for, because it's the dream, plan, do. So we dreamed, and then we didn't plan very quick.
But we're still doing. We're doing a lot.
We're doing a lot. But you are right. The whole social media has been great for business. It's amazing because it's a great way to connect with people all over. I mean, we are in 9 states, right?
Huge.
And we wouldn't be able to do that without ads and, wonderful people just such as Jose with these great videos that he does. We would have never found you if it wasn't for social media. But it takes a lot of energy.
Does.
It does take a lot of energy.
It does.
But you again, you're flipping onto newer, bigger, I want to say bigger and better things, because I see a lot of growth in you.
Thank you.
I mean, I know I haven't known you like your whole life, but I did get to meet your mom. I love that opportunity.
My mom loves you.
I was really happy, and that I was able to spend some time with her. But I see a lot of growth with you in just the last couple of years. It's been a year and a half now, I think, that we met.
Wow.
And I attribute that to you kind of gaining that energy in your priorities, and recognizing, I guess, what's good for you and your family.
That's huge. I mean, yes. Reclaiming my time, like I said, and learning how to say no and not feel completely stretched out. I was trying to put 100% in 10 things instead of 1,000% into one thing. You know what I mean? And it's tough. And another big thing that I think you guys have done really well is with Buyer Beater, we were creative solutions for sellers, but I was the novation guy, me and Rich Wonders, and he does it at such a great high level, but I did novations differently, right? But I was just novations. And like you said, when you graduate into, okay, now you have disposable income, you have active income, residual income. I have other passions in entrepreneurship and real estate. So I started looking at midterm rentals, right? We have 30 doors there and fix and flips, doing luxury stuff. My whole community was built on the base of innovation. So whenever I started opening the door to being like, look what else I'm doing, guys, I was like typecasted. Everyone was like, boo,
No.
do more innovations, and I was like, man. So I started I wasn't as passionate about the evolution of what I could do in the space. And I just felt I was redundant because the turnover as well is tough.
Yeah.
Because I was dealing with wholesalers, and they're great when they work, but when they don't get a deal in a couple months, they go back to doing what they were doing before, and I'm still teaching the same basics over and over. And I'm like, come on, guys, let's try to do this. Let's try to move over here. Why don't you take this wealth? You just closed a deal. Let's focus on this. Nobody cared. And I was like, now I see what it's like when actors, you hear like crazy stories. I'm not comparing myself to any actor. I'm just saying, like, they're typecasted as a type, for years. They just go do like a balls of the wall, way different, insane thing just so they can reclaim their identity. I totally get it now. I'm like, man, so.
Yeah, what's Trevor doing now? Or what is Trevor still doing that novation thing? Yeah, I remember going to networking events and kind of hearing that. But so what are you doing now? So I mean, you could talk a little bit about novation.
Yeah, I'm a professional belly dancer. Doing that now. I have a community. No, it's good. It's called
Check it out.
buyer belly.
I eat your heart out.
I know. No, so the community piece, we really started winding down, kind of fizzled it in a sense where I was like, with the second kid, it was just, the branding piece was Buyer Beater was Trevor, And it wasn't a faceless brand, and so we started trying to implement some other great people on the team into it, but it just didn't transition, the way we wanted it, and so we started positioning more into consulting. Novations will always be with me. I love novations. I will always consult on novations. I think they're one of the best ways in 2025 moving forward to really collaborate with your homeowners, give them what they want, and really exercise a great way to make them a part of the mission and selling their house correctly. Um, but now, I would say with this time, me and Rob found a passion with some of our other community members where we created a company for midterm rentals through Pad Split. That has been so much fun to do in Texas. And as we're doing that, the nuance of that has opened up a lot of doors for more lending, fractional with Stella. I mean, really being able to provide a base on that community for private opportunities. And then I flip luxury homes in Arizona, right? So million plus, we have 5 projects going out over there. And that's just been so cool to do it with the right team, and it takes less of my time, but more of my commitment, and I think that was a great trade-off to be a better dad and husband at home.
Yeah, it's you're kind of all spread out, but in a positive way. Yeah, you actually have
Yeah.
a broader portfolio, a more diverse
More
portfolio,
diverse, more diverse, yeah.
portfolio. Now, we're just assuming that everybody knows what innovation is.
Mm.
So, let's briefly talk about what innovation. I love innovations.
Yeah.
I love anything creative funding. So I kind of miss lending sometimes secretly. Don't tell my business partner that I do, but but so tell everybody what innovation is,
Of course.
in case there's anyone out there, that likes and subscribes.
Mm.
I'm trying to get into that
I
habit.
love that, need it. Put it up on the screen. So, innovation, what I'd like to boil down this to is, I mean, you need a base in investment real estate, right? More people who go to fix and flip a home. In broader terms, you buy a property all cash, right, at a lower discounted value, so that way you can take ownership of it, renovate the home, and resell it on the open market. But you do have to go a lot lower due to the fact that you have carrying costs, other costs of the renovation, external costs of realtor fees, closing costs. I don't want to go into the logistics, but there's fees associated why you have to buy these properties 40, 50 cents on the dollar. So a lot of wholesalers are the bridge builders from finding these distressed sellers and connecting them to investors or fix and flippers for a fee, right? And that fee is the difference of what you got it under contract and what you sold it. Now, the novation piece for me, how I got into it is I started presenting those offers to sellers. And I go, there's got to be a different way because I built rapport with the homeowners. You talk war stories with the men, you flirt with the old ladies, and you love it, but your offer is just not good. And so when I presented the novation opportunity, it's being able to have a collaborative mindset with your homeowners and say, hey, look, I don't want to lowball you, but why don't we just team up? If I can come in, let's say, keep you on title, and I just come in, I privately pay for the renovations on behalf of you. Any appreciation I create to the renovation when we sell it, right? I'll cover all the realtor fees and closing costs. Whatever's left over, we can split.
So generous.
Yeah, I know, right? And so allowing that informal approach has really heightened a seller's sense of belonging in the property because a lot of the residential real estate is so emotional for homeowners, right? We treat it very transactionally. They're the 314th call. You're looking at their last name. You don't know them from anything, right? But to them, they're getting these calls. They're going, who can help me out? And sometimes, it's not just a quick cash offer. Sometimes it's finding a solution for the seller. And you got to come in with, how can I help? And so the novation has really created such a collaborative way of saying, this is how I can help. I can come in here, whether it's a couple $1,000 in a hoarder room that you're just going to clean out, right? And that way we can test the market in a way that's more optimistic for first-time homeowners, or it's fully renovating your home because it's vacant and tenants unfortunately left it bad, and we can end up splitting the profit. And you'd be surprised that 50,000 more than not for us made it another 50, 60,000. So we were averaging 108% cash on cash, still are, by giving the seller more, having the agent list a better product, making more commission, and taking a sense of belonging with the homeowner and walking them through feeling taken care of. And that's been really cool to do. That's why I love the innovation model.
I'm a believer. Oops, I'm a believer in everything lining up. So when I first got into the real estate world, I was working in foreclosures.
Wow.
And I had no idea that Ricardo and I did our first deal together was our version of innovation. So when you actually had a title to it, or that was actually that's this actual thing, I was like, oh wow, that's what we did.
Basically.
But my first client, he was in Danville, California, and he was in a foreclosure. The property was a beautiful property in a very exclusive area in Northern California, and he just needed some help. And I did not wanna put him in a bailout to stay there. I knew
Exactly.
that if somebody could come in and help him with the flip. At the time, I thought we were just gonna flip his
Yeah,
home and,
yeah.
he was gonna be an equity split partner with us. And, it worked, and I think that transaction helped to identify that Ricardo and I needed to be in business together, and we
So cool.
worked really well
Yeah.
together, and I got to meet his contractor. His contractor went and stayed out there. We broke bread with my client, on the table, and
Isn't it so much more personable?
it was.
Yeah.
Because he was I mean, he was selling his home. First, he was losing his home,
Yep.
then he was selling his home, and he had an idea of, what needed to happen in his mind, and, actually, I may have him on the podcast. We're supposed to do a video together.
That'd be really cool.
So shout out to Steven and to Kathleen. But, it was a beautiful, not just a testimony to my client, but also to myself.
Mhm.
Dream, plan, do, right? So it was, "Can this be done?" And then meeting you and being part of your education program, and then you encouraging us to do this, it's been a the wine helped, of course.
Always
But
does.
but you and Rob have been very helpful and have been, great supporters of us, and me personally as well, because it is a scary space. I did
Totally.
not wanna get lost. I did life backwards, so my kids are already grown, right? My kids are off in Japan and in
Yeah.
Texas,
Like
doing business.
being rocket scientists and running, becoming president. Your kids are crazy awesome.
Well, I don't have little ones at
Yeah.
home, so I can't even imagine, like, you having to still go home after a long day of work.
I find what I do very purposeful though. So I go back and I get to take a breath of fresh air and just kind of be there and I yearn to be home. That wasn't always the case, right? I really liked going out. I loved traveling, and this took me everywhere. I've done innovations in almost every state, and so I've been able to meet great community members everywhere and really dominate the space in a lot of major cities. Now I dread traveling, which blows
Really?
my mind. I know me, right?
No.
Like when I go out, it's fun. I get that, but when I FaceTime my daughter and I pull out and I'm going to the airport and she's under the blinds, waiting for me to come home, and it's like those are small, subtle nuances that's gonna outgrow me, and I want to be home for those. And so I get like emotional thinking about it because when my wife calls me, and I'm to say goodnight to Kaya, I put her to bed every night. That's my thing. So when I'm not there, it's such a hard thing for Kaya. When Tucker sees me, he lights up, and it's like I came back and homie's crawling. I come back and my daughter's learning the potty train, and it's just been a couple days, but to me, it feels like years. And that was a big thing for me to shift into just doing what I'm passionate about and continuing to stay in the space and, kind of rebuild myself where I can focus on the family first mentality. And that's been heavy as the crown because then you lose business, lose a lot of it, right? I mean, from overnight, I basically made this and I sat down with Rob and Kat, and he's an introvert, you know him, but he's my ride or die. And so when I looked at being able to rebrand, it turned into making a lot of people unhappy, but also making us happier. And you gotta realize with the ego which one's more important. And sometimes it's a Band-Aid that you gotta rip off, and we're not gone, but I do feel better.
It's quality, right?
Yeah.
And we were talking about this. So, did you really lose business, or did you just get the right business?
It's so true. You get the right business. It's quality over quantity for sure.
Yeah,
We were doing 40 deals at a It was crazy. And the thing is, active income and passive income, you're totally correct. Because now when I get to be on a call or I'm focusing with certain people, I'm able to give 100% of my attention to things now. And that's like a superpower, you know what I mean? You're not thinking about something else or the Zoom you gotta do afterwards or what am I gonna talk about today now, And that that is big.
What about Phoenix? I mean, we were out there touring, what was it, a $10 million property.
Yeah,
We got to tour all of your
yeah.
properties, all the projects that you had out there, and the kids were in the pool, I know, and Rob barbecued at the end of the day,
Yes.
and we had a little bit of business, a little bit of family time. So who
Huge.
can say that they can do that?
It's huge, and I would never be able to take well, first off, my wife would just be holding the kid in the corner, and she'd be there showing up for me, but at what cost, So being able to do that, having people I trust around my children is huge as well, and, yeah, put the dad hat on, put on an apron, and, have a couple cocktails, go swimming, my gosh. So much better. It's so much better. I feel better too. So
We are in the people business,
yeah.
and we are in the business of working with people we trust, and people invest with Trev because you trust Trev. I mean, let's talk a little bit more about that. So now investments. What's next for you? What's the next parkour flip?
Ooh. Um. Well, if belly dancing doesn't work out, I love. I'm a huge believer of the pad split model. I mean, co-living in general, because I've looked at the active income piece. Flips are great. I do think that that's never gonna. I mean, those are passion projects now, especially getting into the luxury space. We're doing novations really in Scottsdale, West Scottsdale, Phoenix, with other investors, fix and flippers, or just buying them outright, adding some square footage. The lending laws over there have been really advantageous to us. But if you were to say, what would I want to do? I would want to get to 1,000 doors with midterms. I think home ownership is lost amongst this next generation. They have such a rental mindset, which isn't necessarily wrong, but they're just their responsibility and where they want to position their focus is not building a family, settling down and 9 to 5ing it. It's they're going to rent out a room because their identity isn't a substance of their home, and they're going to go save their money and go to a bunch of drugs and music festivals and go have fun.
Yeah.
Good for them, but they need a place to stay, and that new age hostel living is huge. Between 32 and 38, we're at 100% occupancy. We get paid weekly, 240, $250 a room, and there's 43,000 searches in Houston, San Antonio, and Austin right now of rooms for rent, and they only have about 1,800 beds that they can fill. It's insane. So if I was a betting man, we have a wait list of 29 right now in Austin that they're calling us going, "Hey, can you just get another property?" And why would I turn that away? You know what I mean? So I think that is just a great way to get people stabilized. And they're not, I've done halfway houses and sober livings. I think it's a great dynamic, but you're very involved with that. This is very independent living, right? There's a lot of school teachers, Starbucks baristas, transitioning service members, people that just, want to save money, and that way they can focus on putting that somewhere else. And it's co-ed. They live together. I haven't had an issue. Um, and Pad Split, it really helps out with that. And I have a great rep, Tony Amiglio. Shout out Tony and Pad Split. I'm just like, wow, how do I do this more? And in Texas, and I want to do that.
I love the video, with the walkthrough, the recent video that you did. And you're right. I mean, everything is separated. Everything's locked up. It's kind of dorm living.
Totally.
So look great.
Yeah, it's just single family residence. I buy 3 2s, 4 2s, get rid of the common areas, throw up drywall, and we then they're rented out a week later, and they have their own cabinet space. It's locked. You can convert the garage into private storage as well for them for some extra money, and they love it. Then they just hang
Doesn't
out.
have to clean up after that.
Cat doesn't have to clean up. How cool is that? She doesn't have to redo the Sharpies on the fridge or get mad when somebody eats our dinner that she made. Gosh, what a wild time. She is just such a ride or die. Like, that's
She is.
crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But yeah, and that's been really cool to do. And I would say for anybody getting into the space, especially when service members or FHA or whatever, if you're willing to commit your time to take the next step, sacrifice a year, position a good base, get yourself involved with that, and your future self is going to thank you for years to come by getting into co-living, I think.
If someone wanted to get more information on this, and they wanted to, would they do a one-on-one with you, or what would you tell people listening today? Like, how could they get more information on
I
this?
would recommend signing up with Fix and Flip Peer Connect. Through there, become great friends with them and become their family. And then I'm sure you could just be putting a group text at me. She's got my number.
No proof to it. You can parkour this way.
You can park this way today. No, I mean, if you want to invest, or of course, I truly do mean that. If you want to invest, or if you have a property that you think could be advantageous to it, yeah, you just give me a ring. We'll get you guys involved with what we have. I mean, of course, come on in there. We're trying to buy one every month or every other month. We did a raise for our 30 doors to 60 doors, so we have a good amount of money that we're actually selling one of them right now because in New Braunfels, it wasn't the best area. But that's going to free up. So we just flipped it. That's what's so cool.
Yeah.
It's like you get involved with it. We know how to find the homes, right?
Mm.
That's our superpower, really.
Yeah.
I mean, we're very good at that bridge building. We're going to sell it, free up about 6 figures, and go creatively acquire a couple more. And Houston and Austin, wink, wink, totally go in those areas. And if you wanna lend on those or be equity partners, let's talk. Absolutely.
What is your so that's your plan.
Mm.
We talked about your do. What's your dream? What's
You
your dream?
I I have, like I have a couple weird things that are, like, on my mirror right now, I'm
Besides
not gonna
belly
lie.
dancing?
Besides belly dancing, I know, I practice every night. Um, this is super off topic, but obviously, health is wealth too,
Yeah.
right? And you realize the lifestyle catches up. It's so funny how you can fluctuate in weight and your social, so you drink, and then you stay home and you get back onto it. Long story short, everything I do now is to try to position my life to where I'm available and willing and able to walk my daughter down the aisle. It's so weird, but that's like, will this help me do that? And I don't know why, but it just clicks with me,
It's
you
not
know?
weird. I had a Pinterest for the longest time. I had everything planning on my daughter's wedding and stuff.
I mean,
It's just
yeah.
what we do as parents, right? But that's beautiful,
Yeah.
because it's you're taking pride in your health and
I
what you're doing.
I truly am. So the dream part, I mean, of course, I wanna walk my daughter down the aisle, and it's gonna be amazing. But in the dream piece for me, wow, what would I wanna do? I honestly just wanna I love being able to be a bridge builder. I love being able to be able to position things that and take them to new heights because of the connections that your hard work brings you. And I think that is so cool to be able to present opportunities and turn them into reality just with the foundation that we've been able to lay, you know? And that's been really, really cool. Cause I'm a curious dude, you know? So I love being able to dabble into a lot of things and being able to have the opportunity. I've been able to be in a lot of really cool rooms with some great people. We know about Caleb and what we have going on there. That's
Yes.
massive. And all of that wouldn't have stemmed, without being able to come in and allow yourself to know that you don't know everything, and there's definitely people here that you wanna aspire to learn from, and being able to sit down and shut up and listen every once in a while can put you in some really cool rooms, so if I can continue to dream to just be in the right rooms with the right people, I can never fail.
Well, why should we just put ourselves in a box and say, "Okay, I'm a flipper and that's all I am."
I know.
Or, I'm a parkour professional and that's all I'm gonna do. Why not be parkour and why not be plat split and why not be
Yeah.
Croatian king and why not be flipper and why not be a international belly dancer?
Coming to a state near you. Um,
Manage you.
I know, yes. No, I agree completely, and plus you find out what you're passionate about. I'm a really big fan of failing forward, totally. That's all gonna work out, right? But I don't like ever wondering what if. I don't, because heavy is the crown. No matter what, you're always gonna wonder what if, and so if you can take the time and have the means to be able to do so and you don't, that's when you're gonna be filled with regret. And so, that's why, like, when we do our event, the event for the Naked Truth, it's gonna be so cool to peel back the onions, look at the layers, and be like, "What didn't work? Why didn't it work?" And that way, there's just no fluff, and I can't wait for that. So I like to lick my wounds and be around people who understand that, you don't lose in the long run, and, your every short-term gain is a step closer to where you wanna be.
I'm excited for the birthday bash, and I don't know if this is gonna come out before the birthday bash or after the birthday bash, but
Mhm.
that's such a huge event. We had spoken about it many
Yep.
times, and I know coming into real estate, you see all these videos, you see all the Instagram, and of how easy it is, and oh, you can make money in OPM, and just follow what this guy is
Yeah.
saying. It's gonna be super easy, and it's not that.
No.
It's not that. There is a lot of failures. There's a lot of I mean, you just shared your story about how the pressures of Instagram and social media and just running an education program, weighed on you. That's deep and that's heavy, and people don't realize that there's a lot of work behind the scenes.
There is, and, it's something that, you're so blessed to be a part of, like, people just trust you with not only money, but their time, and the thing is that you gotta remember, especially in the space, it's like they can't wait to get off work to be like you, so they can quit what they do and do what you do. It's such a different energy where if you can't fully commit to that, you make them second guess what they're doing, then they go back into the rat race, their downfall, and now it didn't just work, they hate you. You know what I mean? Because they've obviously given everything, all of their eggs are in this basket, and when you don't prioritize that, it's a slippery slope. It's scary, And so, yeah, I mean, I am excited to just really peel back the curtains and be like, yo, this is what it's like.
I was, right after COVID, that was kind of a scary time. I just moved out here to California, and
Yeah.
I went back to corporate America because I'm thinking, "Okay, I don't wanna leave California, but, this is scary. The world's shutting down."
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So, that was you're wearing mask, you're behind plexiglass. One of my clients I'll never forget. She came in and her mother had just been in an accident and she had passed away. And I could not give her a hug. I couldn't give her a hug
Oh,
because,
sad.
we it was against the policies of the bank, and she was closing escrow on her new investment property out of state, and, it's a happy moment for her, but a sad moment for her, and I can't console her, and I'm thinking, "Man, I'm just not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
I'm just not supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be on the other side of the plexiglass, hugging her, saying, 'Girl, what do you need? Who can I get you in contact with? What can I help you with?'" And, it's I'm happy. I'm happy that it's all come full circle.
Oh yeah.
I'm happy that we're here now. I mean, here we are in a podcast. Uh,
Like COVID, to me, I was in the Middle East when COVID happened.
Oh.
So I had like no real access to knowing what was going on in America. Besides like my every once in a while calls I could talk to my wife about it. Blows I never experienced America COVID. But
You
to me it was like I know. It was like crazy though that the world shut down like that and how much of a realization the economy went through during that time and then coming back into it. It was my wife's so funny because I would come in, I didn't believe that everybody kept the distance and the freeways were empty and the toilet paper was gone and all these things. So I remember coming to Chipotle and standing right behind this person. I didn't know about the stickers on the floor. And I got lit up by like the store manager. You know what I mean? You're here to spread it. This is the disease you create. People like you. I'm like, what? That was after the airport. I wanted Chipotle. And it was crazy. I don't know.
They were shutting them down.
Oh my
They
gosh,
were
yeah.
shutting them
It's
down. If
just
you did not follow the rules, you were
yeah.
shutting them they
I
were shutting them
couldn't
down.
couldn't even imagine. But what a surge in real estate that was. I mean, let's talk about the interest rates during COVID, the false sense of reassurance that got everybody to boom into this industry and the massive fall of a lot of people. I was just talking about that with Ricardo actually before we started filming. It's like I was talking to Jess in the last couple of years, people that were predominantly in the space really doing well. We're in such a different season in real estate right now where weathering this storm is going to get you your stripes for sure, and you guys you're crushing it. So seeing people where they've changed their Instagram or rebranded themselves or whatever outside of real estate, it just goes to show the complexity of why you need a mentor, right? Don't recreate the wheel. If this is working for somebody, this is why education is so important. Right? I'm a big fan of copying. Look at me in high school. You think, I mean, I didn't do all my, you know what I mean? Like looking at that, it's like, man, but it's actually, it's not shamed. It's advantageous to plagiarize in this space. If this is how you bought properties and that's what you use and this is how you do it, I'm just going to pay you so I can do the same exact thing and just do it over here.
Mhm.
And it blows my mind that people don't lean into that still. Like it truly does blow my mind. People don't do
Do
that.
you think that's ego, or do you think that's, fear of trust, or what do you think causes that? Because I love your collaborative effort, I don't wanna call it a catchphrase, but what you say all the time, the collaborative effort.
Collaboration is key.
Yeah.
Yeah. I I think it's 2 things. That's a good question. I mean, I think ego has to do with it, right? Well, I could do this. Well, if he did it, if this freaking idiot Trevor did, I could do that. You know what I mean? Like that's one side, but 2, it's short-term goals for long-term gains, right? So it's a short-term mindset. Because
That's good.
and if I spend 5 grand on this guy, like, and if it doesn't work out, that's 5,000 wasted. It's like, yeah. Or you spend 5 grand to learn exactly how I've made millions in the space, and you just do exactly what I tell you, and then you're gonna make that back plus then some every week in the space, you know what I mean? So I think looking at that, it's always leaning into, well, what could go wrong instead of what's going to go right. So I think it's a mindset shift. Once
Yes.
that's why you think about that. If you come in front of this and you have somebody come in and they're in Texas and they go, "Yo, Christina Ricardo, like I'm doing this here for development, pay to be a part of 2 of my opportunities. I'll teach you everything." You'd be like, "Where do I send the check?" Like, of course. And that's the mindset of going, because I get to take this and 10x it. And unfortunately, people look at it to where if it's not instant gratification, it's not worth having. And so $5,000 is $600 a month, right? But I mean, that's a bar tab twice, at TGI Fridays when you go out a month, Sacrifice is key for things that you want. And that's what I've seen, especially when it comes down to the instant gratification piece. So I'm a big fan of, and like you said, education, like not all of it's worth it for sure. I've dropped money. I'm not going to say, the event, but I spent $60,000
Jeez.
my first year in business to sponsor an event. And it took me over 19 months to make that money back because it wasn't worth it. But the connections were.
Mm-hmm.
So I might not have made that money back, but I grew exponentially by putting myself in a position to be able to gain that exposure. So I don't regret it, right? And I get asked that all the time still. And it's like, no, I didn't make a dime off of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I was able to build myself in a light, and that I've been able to take to new heights because of that.
Oh, I mean, I think of Fix and Flip Peer Connect, and I think of what's the future for Fix and Flip, right?
Mhm.
Having advisors, Pat Split, having advisors, out-of-state advisors, maybe even multifamily one day, an expert in just lending.
Huge.
So it's because we are branding ourselves as a trusted network. Yeah, exactly. A multi-tool.
Belly dancing 101.
I don't remember about that. I'll leave that to you. I'm more of a bachata.
There it is.
My
There it is. Okay.
No, I do feel like I see that every time when I'm envisioning, how we're continuing to grow and the people that we meet and the people you've introduced me to, not just in the professional space, but also in the personal space. We celebrated Kat's birthday not too long ago. I met really great people there. And everybody's just looking for a way to collaborate, and at least the people in our network, I feel, are looking for different ways to collaborate, and they may not even be in this real estate space. There's investments that we're looking at that are outside the real estate space that are just great opportunities for people that want, again, a diverse portfolio.
I love that. And I honestly think showing up is 90% of it.
Oh, yeah.
If you were to go right now, if Christina and Ricardo held an event, right, at a bar or a restaurant every Tuesday for the next year, and you showed up and didn't say a word, in a month, they're going to come up to you and go, yeah, what are you doing? Like, what are you passionate about? What do you want to do? Because your goal is to help grow. You want to be a stepping stone for somebody else's success. That's what I love about this space. You know what I mean? So you can go there, show up, and not say a freaking word. And I guarantee you the second or third time, Christina's energy as could come right on over to you and be like, what are you doing? What's going on?
Yeah.
And you're going to be thrusted into success because of where you put yourself, right? And that's why I think your network is your net worth. You can just go, not say anything, but showing up is 90% of it. The other 10% is going to be up to somebody else who's going to help, kind of give you the push that you need. And that's what I love about this space. I think that's so cool. That's why hosting events are so cool.
Oh man, that's fun. People they'll say, even Ricardo, he says, "Oh, there's so much energy that you give off, and I'm really tired after." And it is true, but I do live for them. I love being there. I love meeting people. Love connecting with people. I love going to other people's events, getting ideas.
Oh yeah.
And it is. I do look forward to them every single month in that routine. That we have the field training, we have the Zoom call, and then we have the live event.
I get recharged off of it.
Yeah.
I get recharged off of
Yeah,
it.
I did too. That's what they say. We're
People need me time. We need we time. We need we time.
We're a little French.
Yeah, look.
We're a little
No,
French.
it's so true, right? And
Yeah.
I do miss it. I do definitely miss a position, of that, but I still get it in real life with people that I get to have in my circle now, which is so cool.
So you're speaking at a lot of events.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And every time I look up, there's a new flyer with your face on there. So
Same photo. I gotta update my photo.
no, that's really great. This is our second episode, and a lot of our community members have been watching, and I've sent it to people outside of our network as well. I want so my goal for the podcast is not just real estate,
Yeah.
but for people to know the real behind the real estate and for people to dream, plan, do. And one of the questions I asked this to Ricardo on the first episode is, if you were to give one message to a listener out there that likes and subscribes about being authentic. What is it? Who is Trevor? What's the authentic Trevor? And what message would you give someone that is coming from you, from your heart?
Wow, that's a really good question. I think where something in business that I think people need to learn to do is something that I was told a couple months ago was fail faster, right? You need to put yourself in the position where you want to fail as fast as you can with the right people so that way you know what to do better the next time. And I think that humility is something where, for me, I was absolutely petrified of failure, right? And I think it could be an image thing. It could be, just something where you put this out there where, of course, everything you see on Instagram is produced. It's filtered. It's everything that you want them to see. And I think leaning into the authenticity of how I initially grew my brand was road to 1 million, right? That was my thing. I was broke as shit. I was in the barracks. I was really trying to get it out there, but my exposure was authenticity. And then I caught myself along the way leaning into the other side to gain exposure, and I think the wrong way, right? In ways where it was very materialistic, and upholding that was so tiring, and upholding that was so not on brand with what I wanted that I attracted the wrong people. And I think for you, if you're going to build up into something, the authentic, if you're afraid to be around people that know you by a stage name because you're acting, different, you're not building a good base at all in business. And I think that that was something I was able to swallow. And now building that back up has been really good extreme ownership for myself. So fail as fast as you can with the right people, and then put yourself on a pedestal with the person you want to be.
Oh, ooh, I got you. They're multiplier. We're gonna work on the Dream Plan Do podcast after hours.
Yes.
Trevor made belly dance for us.
Mm.
This is fun. I'm very happy and honored that you were our official first guest. 'Cause
Yeah.
those are business.
Carter don't count.
He
don't
counts
count.
He counts everything.
You're not
You're
right.
He funded all of this.
True.
It's-
And you got me this. What am I saying? That's rude.
No, that's true. No, but I am honored, and I was a little starstruck, when I first met, and that's with Trev. And it's been great to be able to get to know you and be able to do business with you. And I'm always looking. Ricardo and I are always looking for ways to collaborate with you guys. And we say that Trev and Rob are the Ricardo and Christina.
Yes.
We're the same, and Rob and Ricardo are the same. But it's great. It's great because we can vent to each other, we can guide each other, and if we fail, we have you guys,
Of course.
and I like that. I appreciate that so much.
It's so reassuring. That's the coolest part, guys, about why community is so crucial, because you will, right? But when you do fail, you take everything. The coolest part is you get to realize what your phone is worth. And just by having you guys in it, my phone's worth millions of dollars,
Yeah.
right? So I can just call you guys right back up and say, I gotta start from scratch. You just invite me over the next day, grab some coffee, and see what I can position, because you can't take this, right? And I think that's a superpower, right? Your connections are a superpower. So it goes both ways. Basically fighting crime through the fix and flip peer connect.
I love it. I'm gonna have you when we get off camera. I'm actually gonna start something. I'm gonna have you sign a little, so you can start thinking about it.
Okay.
I'd like for you to leave a little message, and at our 25th episode, we're going to have a canvas with all of the little messages from all of the different people that have sat in our podcast, so that you can see if we're dreaming, we're planning, and we're doing. I want to remind everyone that you have to dream, right? You have to have a dream to be able to create a plan. And when you have great people in your corner, such as Trevor, it doesn't make it so hard to do. And I just want to remind you that the Fix and Flip Pair Connect community is not just about myself and Ricardo. It is about our network. It is about the people we do business with. And one of the promises that I made when we started this podcast is that we're not only looking for members, we're not only flipping one person at a time, we are actually here for personal growth. And we want to grow with you too. From your experience, and hopefully you can grow from our experience. So before I give the final closing, can you tell everybody how they can get in touch with you and find Trevor?
Yes. Mainly Instagram. You go to Invest with Trev, you'll be able to find me, shoot me a message. I know I just talked a bunch of crap about checking them. I absolutely love it. So definitely reach out if you have any questions, comments. about how to get involved, what you want. You're just going to get a very authentic voice note from me about whatever you're going through and how we can work out. And then YouTube as well at Invest with Trev. And then definitely follow, because then you'll be able to see exactly where I'm going and what I'm speaking about, and things that we're hosting, and just be able to be on the same path as me, which I would absolutely be honored.
Thank you so much for being here.
You.
So we parkoured our way through this, and everyone, please stay tuned. Oh, wait, please like and subscribe, and stay tuned for our third episode where we're actually going to have one of our community members who is also a service company within our community. Remember, if you want any more information, go to fixandflippeerconnect.com and stay tuned for all of our upcoming events. So, guys, until the next one, dream, plan, do.
Bada bing, bada boom.